Farmview with Kieran O'Connor on WLR.
Brought to you by GlanviaConnect.com.
Hello and welcome to Farmview. Well, as usual, it's Kieran O'Connor here with your weekly farming programme, and once again I have a very busy show for you this week. Well, in this week's programme I'll talk to Waterford milk supplier Mark Drohan of Rathcormac Clonea, and Mark was nominated for Teagasc National Student of the Year by Kildalton College. I'll also hear about the Agricultural Science Association's ASA Fellowship Programme aimed at developing Ireland's next Agri Food thought leader. And plus, I talk to Farming Independent's Jim O'Brien about his new book, Matters of Great Indifference, Reflections on Modern Rural Living. And plus, as always, we'll have our farming calendar.
Farmview with Kieran O'Connor on WLR.
With GlanviaConnect.com, Ireland's biggest online farming shop and more.
Well, nominated for the prestigious Student of the Year award from Kildalton College was a Waterford milk supplier and Glanbia milk supplier from the Clonea Rathcormac area, and he is Mark Drohan, who joined us on the line. First of all, Mark, welcome to our programme.
Thanks, Kieran.
First of all, Mark, being nominated by Kildalton College for the National Student of the Year, a great achievement and a great honour.
Yeah, I was a bit surprised. I didn't even know there was such a thing at the time, and I got a phone call a couple of months after finishing up to know would I be interested in going forward for interviews. A little bit reluctant at the start, but I did, and I was nominated to go forward for the college to the national round of interviews for the award.
And of course, Mark, for people on the outside, you were literally a mature student, and you might give the background of you went to WIT studying engineering and ended up coming back on the farm and then doing the Green Cert. So by the time you got to Kildalton College, you were one of the real senior citizens in the classroom.
Yeah, I went back to do the full-time course, say with people that would have left school, just finished school, say, and just started first time in college. So it was everything from 17, 18, 19-year-olds up to me and older even than me. There was lots of people who had done college courses previously and gone home farm, and I needed to do Green Cert qualifications. There was guys that had done chemistry courses and engineering courses and all sorts of things. So it was a bit mixed. It was good all the same. Like it was something different, Well,
obviously,
mixed people in the group.
Correct, but obviously you really got stuck into it because you were working on the farm and then going back doing the Green Cert. The engineering and the experience, the engineering course in WIT, did that stand to you, or did you find that literally a waste of a couple of years, or do you feel it has stood to you by the time you hit the farm at home?
It stood to me. I have a great interest in engineering as well, so it really stood to me, afterwards. So it helps me every day, year.
Right. Now, of course, you run the dairy herd at home there. What type of numbers do you have? And of course, more importantly, you were one of the founder members of the Clonea Rathcormac Robotic Milk Group, and of course, very much involved in that is Teagasc advisor Seamus Kearney, who helped coordinate it all.
Yeah. So currently we're milking about 150 all year round, split calf, and we set up the group many years ago when we first started, and it kind of developed, and it's turned into, say, just the County Waterford now, including all robotic farmers of all different brands of machines. So we meet maybe 6 to 7 times a year. We don't meet as regular as other groups because it's not the need, I suppose, but we meet as often as we feel we need to. And it's great to have the experience of different types of machines, because robots are a little bit different in that they all have their own quirks and things that they're different in. So nice to have different manufacturers, machines in the groups.
And Mark, it was a very bold move, and I know Seamus Kearney was very much the pioneer to kind of drive it, but for all you to get involved, it was a huge investment, and it was a huge gamble, literally gamble, a risk, because you were going into the unknown, but you believed what you had seen, and indeed you believed that it could work, and my God, has it worked?
It was very much an unknown at the time. We had a lot of thinking to do about it and research to do. We weren't sure if it was the right thing or the wrong thing. Probably the fact that a group of us helped in that we kind of had each other to fall back on. But as I say, it's proven itself at this stage. They're widely proven. I don't think anyone can question the workers behind them. It's just a case of whether it's for the person or the farm, or it's not for everyone, obviously. But
because a lot of people question exactly, but a lot of people questioned initially. They were working about would both herd health and milk quality suffer, but that hasn't been the case.
No, definitely not. Definitely herd health is monitored every day. The cows wear a collar on their neck. It's heat detection, rumination, all that kind of stuff. There's health reports. It flags up sick cows before we even know they're sick. Milk quality is measured every milking, so we get butterfat, protein, lactose, litres, cell count, milk temperature.
The problem cows good and early.
Yeah, exactly. You see them way before you would have ever seen them traditionally before.
Correct.
Sometimes you might even have a little bit too much information. It's kind of hard to know when it's time to intervene and not to intervene.
I presume
you get the hang of that for a while.
I presume your time in WIT and doing the engineering and involved now with a high-tech setup like you have. I was down on your farm when I met the initial group of you there a couple of years ago now. As regards the whole running of the robots, and of course you're very much involved in a discussion group and purchase group, but definitely the engineering must have stood to you.
Yeah, Dad was heavily involved in engineering before. That was his career, and of course it just rubbed off on me. I didn't lick it off the road. Look, if I wasn't farming, I'd be doing something with engineering. That's kind of the background I have, and that's my interest. And I try to bring as much of it as I can to farming as best I can.
And of course, your dad had great vision, and he was one of the real key factors of this group coming together.
Yeah, I suppose he was the driver behind it. Initially, he was the one pulled everyone together and organised it all, and brought us all different places and organised the trips to see things. So I don't think without him, he left a bit afterwards.
Yeah, now you said it, and I know Seamus Carney, speaking to him, he was saying without your dad's enthusiasm, that the thing mightn't have gone ahead. As regards your own farm, and finally on this, of course, the judges say that the good calf rearing you have, the soil fertility, and the whole advocate of good grass management were all the key areas that they nominated you for.
Yeah, so look, we're always trying to look forward to trying to drive on a bit. I'm not big into quantity, I'm more into quality, if that's the putting it. I like to do the small things right, so it's all about doing
good policy.
And looking to see what's new and what's up and coming, and try to take it on.
Well, definitely your dad will be very proud of what you have achieved, and to be nominated by Teagasc Kildalton College for the Student of the Year was a fantastic achievement. You and all the family, listen, well done, Mark. You're doing a great job, and well done to all involved in your Rathgormack Clonea Robotic Milk Group, and indeed to Seamus as well, who was really the guiding light behind it all.
Thanks very much, Kieran.
Well, the Agricultural Science Association, better known as ASA, of course, are one of the best and well-known coordinated associations for the ag scientists right across the industry, from all aspects of the industry. Well, every year they have a fellowship programme, and this year is no exception, and they have a €10,000 ASA fellowship. And to tell us all about it, we're joined by their president, and that's Anne-Marie Butler. Anne-Marie, welcome to our programme.
Thanks very much, Kieran. Thanks for having me. Pleasure.
Anne-Marie, before we talk about the bursary and now you're National ASA president at a very difficult time, you might tell us a little bit about your background and how you got involved in the industry and your background in ASA.
I will, of course, Kieran. Yeah, so I'm a Kilkenny woman, so plenty of hurling going on, and looking forward to the next match. So I'm from Freshford, just north of the county, Kieran. So I'm from a tillage farm, and I studied agriculture in UCD for 4 years, and I was delighted to get the opportunity to study agriculture and make great friends up there, many of whom are from Waterford and around Clashmore and further afield, Kieran, and had a great time there, so much so that I stayed on for another couple of years and completed my PhD in UCD in association with Teagasc Moorpark. My PhD was all about the type of cow that you'd have and what she'll eat, calving dates and all that kind of optimisation that looks at the whole dairy systems that we have across the country. And when I finished my PhD then, Kieran, I was delighted to join Ulster Bank. So I've been with Ulster Bank since 2008. I'm the Senior Agri Manager with Ulster Bank. And so in a nutshell, my job is I'm in a normal course of events, Kieran. I'm out and about on the road meeting customers, looking at their new lending applications or looking at how the farm is operating, and then bringing that knowledge back into Ulster Bank to see how we can respond to customers. So if milk prices up or down, or pig prices up or down, or from Brexit to climate change, all of those issues, I suppose, will pass my remit. And it's a role that I enjoy, and I very much enjoy meeting customers. And I look forward to getting back out on the road, Kieran. We're meeting them virtually at the moment, but I certainly look forward to getting out and about.
Now, as regards the ASA, this annual fellowship you have, worth 10,000 FPD involved as sponsors. You might tell our listeners about the fellowship and what you're actually looking for.
Yes, so we're delighted to launch this new programme in association with FPD, and thank them sincerely for their support. The essence of this, Kieran, is we're looking for an individual, an ASA member who's ambitious and enthusiastic, has a strong bedrock in science, as all our members have, and is looking to build on that bedrock. We're inviting applications under one of 4 themes: sustainable agriculture, soil science and carbon sequestration, food for health, and agriculture and food economics. And the idea is that the individual would submit a short application, Kieran. We've certainly not thought to make it very cumbersome on people, that they would submit how they would spend this €10,000 to further their scientific knowledge, and at the same time be an ambassador and an advocate for not just the ASA but for the industry at large. As all of your listeners will know, agriculture has a great story to tell, but we often don't get the opportunity to tell that story both nationally and internationally. So this individual will be an advocate for it, and a very strong part of it, Kieran, is that the findings of their science will not only be presented at our conference hopefully next September, but also will be put into relatable communication, so that they would come on shows like your show and other shows across the country to advocate for science and to show them agriculture and all that agriculture does.
A bit like the Nuffield, really, that you get the experience, then come back and then share your experience with the general public.
Yeah, that's it. I suppose in this though as well, as you would have seen from the detail well, and your listeners can get from our ASA website, there isn't a set programme here. So the individual will need to be somewhat of a self-starter. So unlike, I suppose, Nuffield, where they would embark on an organised trip, this is certainly led by themselves. So very much up to them as to what they would like to study. Obviously, we're acutely mindful of COVID and limitations on travel, Kieran, so there will have to be some concessions made if somebody wants to look a little bit further or they want to travel. But certainly we did want to launch and let people know that it is there and that it's very much self-led. We will support them in any way that we can. We have a great network of members, a great network of links, and we'll certainly help and assist. But it's very much down to the individual as to what they would like to study. And hopefully, I suppose, our aim, Kieran, is that in 10 or 15, 20 years' time, this fellow will look back and be proud that they were the first fellow.
As regards applying, how do you apply? How do you go about applying, and what is the closing date?
The closing date is actually the 4th of January, so hopefully people get a chance over the Christmas season to reflect on this and get the application in. The best place to get the information, Kieran, is to go to our website. It's www.asaireland.ie/fellowship. Or if any of your listeners go on to Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, all of the social media, Instagram, there's links there that will bring them in. But it's a two-phase process. You submit an application form, which is a max 1,000 words. So again, hopefully it'll be succinct enough for that. And also the second thing that we're asking people to do is to submit a short video, a max 2-minute video, just telling us why they would like to be the ASA fellow.
Listen, I think it's a fantastic concept. It's the Ag Science Association, the ASA, launching their fellowship programme, value 10,000, sponsored by the FBD. And for more information, look up www.asaireland.ie/fellowship. Anne-Marie Butler is National President. Listen, Anne-Marie, well done, and well done at this very difficult time, and indeed great to see this fellowship programme being announced, and let's hope we'll have good uptake on it, and hopefully some good uptake from down here in Waterford in the southeast. Thanks for taking our call.
Exactly, not at all. Thanks for having me, Kieran. Take care.
Farmview with Kieran O'Connor on WLR.
With GlanbiaConnect.com. Thousands of products in the palm of your hand.
And you're very welcome back to part 2 of Farmview. Now, before I talk to Farming Independence Jim O'Brien about his new book, let's have a look at some items from our farming calendar. Turning to our farmer markets and country markets, of course, great opportunity every week to purchase local farm fresh produce. This Saturday, Waterford Farmers Market, John Roberts Square, and also, of course, on Saturday morning, we have the Strawberry Farmers Market trading every Saturday morning from 10 until 1. On Thursday, it's Dungarvan Farmers Market, Grattan Square, running every Thursday as usual from 9 until 2. While on Friday mornings, we have Dungarvan Country Markets now trading every Friday morning at the Scouts Den in Abbeyside from 9 until 1. And good news as regard to Waterford Farmers Market at St Olave's Hall. Chris Hillard was on to tell us that they'll be reopening on Friday next, the 4th of December, from 9 until 1. Now, turning to our marts, of course, due to level 5 COVID restrictions, all marts are now running online this Saturday. Waterford Ross Mart cattle and calf sale starting at 10, and don't forget their weekly wheeling sale at New Ross will take place every Monday from 5:30. A note also in from Dungarvan Mart that Monday's Mart with cattle and calves will also have a very special entry of pedigree Aberdeen Angus and Charolais cattle for a local producer. And as I mentioned earlier, all marts are now online at livestocklive.com. Now, Farm Safety Code of Practice, well, a half-day Farm Safety Code of Practice training course has been organised by Mobile Training. It will take place in Modelio Community Centre on Thursday week, that's Thursday the 10th of December from 7 o'clock. All COVID-19 guidelines are strictly adhered to, and for more information you can contact Colette at mobiletraining.ie. On the show jumping front, Shannakill House Equestrian Centres, well, their autumn pony training series continue every Sunday mornings under strict COVID conditions at 11 o'clock every Sunday morning. And finally, when it comes to Christmas trees, we'd like everyone to buy local this year, and this year Christmas trees will be for sale at the Causeway Bowls Club. It's adjacent to the Causeway Tennis Club. All trees on sale are grown in West Waterford, and they'll be open for sale from Tuesday next, running daily from 11 until 6 at the Causeway Bowls Club in Abbeyside.
Farmview with Kieran O'Connor on WLR.
With GlanbiaConnect.com. Ireland's biggest online farming shop and more.
Well, Matters of a Great Indifference is a new book published by Jim O'Brien. Of course, Jim O'Brien is well known down here in Waterford from his involvement over last year, particularly in the Dungarvan Co-op history, 100 years of Dungarvan Co-op, along with Francis Bannock and Caroline Smithy. Of course, reflections on modern and rural living. And Jim joins us on the line, of course, well known for his weekly column in the Farming Independent. Jim, welcome back to our programme.
Thanks, Kieran. Thank you very much.
Jim, you just finished a book last year and now you're back again. Where did you get the idea for this book from?
Well, I suppose I write the column every week for the Farming Independent. Just to go back a bit, about 3 years ago, as you might know and as people would know, I write the property for the Farming Independent and have been doing that for about 10 years. And during that time, I would often make observations on what I saw around the country. And in writing the property pieces, I'd maybe make observations on rural life and that sort of thing. So my editor asked me, Louise Hogan, and the deputy editor, Ronnie Bellew, asked me if I'd consider writing a weekly column, just on what I see around me and what I see in my travels. And that's how it started. And then as they gathered and as the columns gathered pace and breadth, as we might say, it was suggested to me by a few people that I should consider putting them together as a compendium, as a collection. And that's what this is. It's a collection of my columns from 2017 until now. And it covers everything from broadband to Brexit to the pandemic, all kinds of issues that came up along the way, you know.
But Jim, you really have a good eye for that story because, and indeed, fantastic reviews. Jim O'Brien is a wonderful storyteller with a wide experience of life, according to Michael Harding. And of course, witty, charming, reflective, caring and wise. Mairead McGuinness, former MEP and of course now Commissioner. So they're two very good endorsements to get at this stage, Jim.
Yeah, and I was very happy to get them. Of course, I worked with Mairead way back when she went for her first time, when she went to made her first attempt at the European Parliament, a successful attempt. So I was delighted at that time to work with her. We both had been working in rural agricultural journalism, so we'd have known one another from then. And Michael Harding, I know Michael for years, and he'd be a good friend of mine and my wife. But anyway, it was great to get those endorsements. As you say, I have a great opportunity all the time out there to see things, and especially, Kieran, when you go into a house or when you go into a farm, when you're walking, let's say, with an auctioneer and it's ready for sale, very often the kind of things you'll see a place that has stood still in time. I remember one time going into a farmhouse, and the man there had obviously gone from the farmhouse to a nursing home and then had died obviously subsequently. On the back of the two armchairs facing the fireplace were his two caps, his Sunday cap and his working cap, and they were there as if he had just walked out the door. You know, and you see whole stories there about changes and about rural life and rural experience. And it's those kind of things I would have reflected on in the pieces. I also would have, written stuff about broadband. I'm a great believer that it is a force for rural Ireland. It makes sure people can work wherever they like and to revive rural Ireland. So I comment on things like that, and also on the things that go to make up anyone's life. Like both my parents would have died in the last 2-3 years, and I would have reflected on that and written about that, and written about the fact that maybe how when I'm walking farms in my job that I'd experience, hear my father whispering in my ear about the condition of the place, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. And those are the things I would talk about, along with community. I'm involved in a very lively community here in East Clare, and I would talk about community issues and the kind of things you would see when you're going through villages and going through towns, the kind of community effort that would be happening around the place and that sort of thing. So it's a broad canvas, and I about everything and anything. It could be the sight even of a woman on her way up the street to go to a morning mass as you'll be driving through that would strike to put something queering in my mind, and I'd get home then and hammer out about 800 words on it. So that's what it's about really.
But Jim,
and it's about all of rural life.
Brilliant, because you have a great feel for that. I know you're originally from Kildalton. You have a big family of the O'Briens in Kildalton. Of course, Kyle Hayes doing you proud at the moment. We won't talk hurling to a Limerick man at the moment, but you moved to Clare. But having that feel, you have that graw for the land. Did you always have that, and was that instilled from your mum or your dad, or that first of all people, and secondly the love of the land, the love of the farm?
Well, I suppose if my own home heard you talking about me and the love of the land, they would kind of smile, because I loved being part of it. Now at the farming and myself, we never got on that much. I remember one time driving with my father. We were going down the road, and I had a cap on my head, and this woman, we stopped to chat to her, a neighbour of mine, and she said, "I'm glad to see you wearing a cap, James," she said, "because you better mind the brain, because you don't mean to dirty your hands." So in that sense, I wouldn't have been the best farmer in the world, but I was very much...
you were interested in what happened behind the farm gate.
Absolutely,
yes,
and always had an interest in it. And as you go away from it, you get a deeper draw for it. So I always had a great interest in farming and in farming communities and how they live their lives and the kind of dynamics that make them. I remember as a young fella thinking that, that people who didn't work on farms had a great life, because when we went home after our day at school, we had to throw off the clothes and the good clothes and take off down to the farmyard and do a few hours work before we came back up to do our homework. I always felt we were a bit hard done by at those times. But no, and it's an amazing way of life, really. It's possibly the oldest form of existence that's known as the oldest form of making a living, and how it's changing and all that all around us. And of course now you have all the tensions between, in some cases false tensions between the green agenda and the farming agenda, when in fact both can work very well together to make sure that our environment is guarded and farmed in a sustainable way.
Well, Jim, I think you've captured it brilliantly. What I love two factors is there's so many different stories. They're long. They're not long stories. They're lovely, short, to the point, and covering both people and events and different things that you've spotted with your eagle eye over the last 10 years involved with the Farming Independent. I think it's a fabulous read. Matters of Great Indifference, Reflections on Modern Rural Living. Obviously, Jim, with the present pandemic, I suppose it's online for the moment, and hopefully it'll be in the bookshops coming up to Christmas. Is that the drill?
It is. Because of COVID, but also I'm self-published. So as a self-publisher, it's very hard to get distribution is very hard to come by, and so it's mainly online, and my website is www.jimobrien.ie. JimO'Brien.ie, and you can click on it, and you can either get it through Amazon or you can get it through myself. I can try and get it to you, but I'd say it's Amazon have a far more efficient way of doing it than I have. But it's very difficult for somebody who's self-publishing to get a book out there. So online is a great way for people like us.
So once again, it's www.jimobrien.ie. Listen, Jim, I think summed up brilliantly by Mairead McGuinness when she said it's witty, charming, reflective, caring, and wise. Listen, well done. It's a great publication. Matters of Great Indifference. Jim O'Brien, of course, who we mentioned earlier, was author, along with Francis Bannock and Caroline Smithy, of Dungarvan Co-op 100 Years. Jim, thanks for taking the call.
Thanks,
and the
Kieran.
very best with Matters of Great Indifference.
Thanks a million. Thank you, Kieran. Thanks for the call.
And before I go on the racing front, we had a good week again for local Waterford connections. Cross-channel, we had wins for Kappa Jock Tom Quealy at Lingfield, as well as young Dungarvan jock Sean Houlihan at Huntington. While back home, a great win indeed for Dungarvan trainer Alice Curran and Dungarvan jock Ian Power at Thurles. While also at Thurles, we had a good win for Ballyduff Upper trainer Pat O'Connor and Tallow jock James Hannon. While at Naas, we had a good return to the winners' enclosure for one of the stable stars of Knockeen trainer Henry de Bromhead, and also at Naas, well-known Colligan owner and dairy farmer Diarmuid Horgan had also a good winner. While at Punchestown, Dungarvan owner breeders, the Flint family of Dungarvan, had a very impressive winner. Well, that's it for this week's programme. Once again, my thanks to Ollie and Sean for all the help in putting this week's programme together. So stay safe, and hopefully I'll have your company again same time next week.
Farmview with Kieran O'Connor on WLR.
With GlanbiaConnect.com. Thousands of products in the palm of your hand.